I was standing in my apartment, staring at my phone like it had just delivered the worst news of my life. My younger sister had just announced her wedding date on the family group chat, and it was the exact same day I had chosen 6 months ago. I watched as congratulations flooded in from my parents, aunts, uncles, and cousins. Nobody mentioned the conflict. Nobody asked about me. My fiancée walked in, saw my face, and asked what was wrong. I showed her the screen, and she went pale. This wasn't coincidence. This was war. My name is Darian, and I'm 32 years old. I work as a civil engineer in Seattle, designing bridges and infrastructure that keeps our city running. 6 months before this moment, I proposed to my college sweetheart, Emma, at our favorite hiking spot in the Cascades. She's a nurse at Seattle Children's Hospital, and she's the kindest person I've ever known. When she said yes, I felt like the luckiest man alive. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, with my parents Harold and Patricia. My dad's an accountant, methodical and precise about everything. My mom taught high school English for 30 years before retiring. They're good people, or at least I always thought they were. But there's always been something off about how they treated me compared to my younger sister Cassandra. Cassandra is 28, 4 years younger than me. From the day she was born, she became the center of their universe. I remember being 6 years old when she arrived, and suddenly everything changed. The bigger bedroom that was supposed to be mine went to her because she needed more space for her toys. When I turned 16, I got Dad's old sedan with 150,000 miles on it. When Cassandra turned 16, they bought her a brand new Honda Civic with a bow on top. College was the same story. They paid her full tuition to Portland State University, covering everything from books to her apartment. Meanwhile, I worked 3 part-time jobs to get through the University of Washington, graduating with $40,000 in student loans that I only finished paying off last year. But I never complained. I told myself it made me stronger, more independent, more capable. I built a good life for myself despite the inequality. I found Emma, built a career, created a circle of friends who felt more like family than my own blood relatives ever did. When I proposed to Emma, we announced it at Sunday family dinner. My parents smiled and said congratulations, but there was no excitement in their voices. No questions about how I proposed, no tears of joy from my mom, just polite acknowledgement, like I'd told them I bought a new car. Cassandra barely looked up from her phone. Emma and I spent weeks looking for the perfect venue. We wanted something intimate and beautiful, a place that reflected who we are as a couple. We found it at Willowbrook Gardens in Woodinville, Washington, right in the heart of wine country. It's a stunning garden venue with wisteria-covered arches, stone pathways, and a lawn overlooking rolling vineyards. The capacity is 100 guests, perfect for the small, meaningful celebration we envisioned. We chose June 15th as our wedding date. It was a Saturday. The weather would be perfect, and the gardens would be in full bloom. We sent save-the-date cards to everyone in January, giving them 5 months' notice. My parents received theirs. So did Cassandra. Emma and I poured our hearts into planning. We booked a string quartet for the ceremony, found a talented local chef for the reception, and designed elegant invitations with pressed flowers. Emma's parents, Richard and Susan, who live in Spokane, were incredibly supportive and offered to pay for half the wedding. They treated me like their own son from the moment we met. By March, we had sent formal invitations to all 100 guests. Everything was falling into place. We had paid deposits to all our vendors, totaling about $15,000. We were excited, hopeful, and so ready to start our married life together. Then, 2 months ago, Cassandra announced her engagement. She had been dating Trevor, who works in tech at some startup, for only 14 months. The family group chat exploded with excitement. My parents called her immediately, my mom crying happy tears. Aunts and uncles sent paragraphs of congratulations. It was the biggest news our family had seen in years. I texted Cassandra privately to congratulate her. She responded with a thumbs-up emoji. That was it. Last week, she posted in the family group chat again. This time, she announced her wedding date, June 15th, the exact same day as mine. I stared at that message for a full minute, waiting for someone to point out the obvious conflict, waiting for my parents to say something. waiting for anyone to acknowledge that I had already claimed that date half a year ago. Instead, the congratulations poured in. Aunt Dorothy wrote about how exciting it was. Uncle Gerald said he couldn't wait. Cousin Marcus sent a gif of fireworks. My mom posted, "We're so thrilled. This is going to be the most beautiful day." Not a single person mentioned me. I texted my mom privately. "Mom, did you notice that's the same day as my wedding?" She responded 20 minutes later. "Oh, I'm sure you can change your date, honey. Cassandra has her heart set on a summer wedding, and you know how she is when she wants something." I felt something crack inside my chest. I called my parents directly. My dad answered on the third ring. "Dad, we need to talk about Cassandra's wedding date." "What about it?" His tone was already defensive. "It's the same day as mine. Emma and I chose that date 6 months ago. We sent save the dates in January." Silence. Then, "Your sister's venue only had that one date available for the whole summer. She fell in love with the Pacific Vista Resort, and they're completely booked except for June 15th. You're being selfish, expecting her to accommodate you." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Selfish? "Dad, we've had this date reserved for half a year. We've paid deposits. We've sent formal invitations. You can get those deposits back or transfer them to another date. Darian, you've had 6 months to plan. You can reschedule. We'll be attending Cassandra's wedding." Before I could respond, my mom's voice came through the speaker. She must have been listening the whole time. "Besides, she's inviting 300 people. It's going to be the event of the season at a luxury resort on the coast. Surely you understand. Your wedding is just a small garden thing with 100 people. It's not the same scale." "Just a small garden thing?" I repeated, my voice hollow. "You know what I mean," she said, sounding irritated. "Don't be dramatic. Cassandra needs this day, and you can be flexible. That's just how it has to be. We'll see you at Thanksgiving." They hung up, just like that. No apology, no acknowledgement of how much this hurt. Just an expectation that I would fall in line like I always had. Emma walked in to find me sitting on the couch, phone in my hand, staring at nothing. When I told her what happened, her face went through shock, anger, and finally settled on fierce determination. "We're not changing anything," she said firmly. "We planned this first. We're getting married on June 15th as scheduled." I loved her even more in that moment. Emma was pacing our living room, her nurse's scrubs still on from her shift. "This is insane. They can't actually expect you to just move your entire wedding because Cassandra decided she wants the same date." "Apparently they can," I said, still processing the phone call. "And they do." We spent the next hour going through our options. All our deposits were non-refundable. We had already spent $15,000, and that was just the beginning. The venue required full payment 60 days before the wedding. Our photographer, florist, caterer, and musicians all had strict cancellation policies. Moving the date would cost us thousands more, and there was no guarantee we could even find another date that worked with all our vendors' schedules. More importantly, we didn't want to move our date. We had chosen June 15th for a reason. It was meaningful to us. "My parents can help more if we need it," Emma said. Richard and Susan had already been so generous, and I hated the idea of asking them for more. "No," I said. "We're not asking them to cover costs because my family is being ridiculous. We're keeping everything as planned." I decided to try reaching out to Cassandra directly. Maybe if we talked sister to brother, we could work this out. I texted her, "Hey, can we talk about the wedding date situation? I'd really like to discuss this." She responded 3 hours later with a message that made my blood boil. "Darian, I honestly didn't remember your date. Trevor proposed spontaneously at a winery last weekend, and when we toured the Pacific Vista Resort, they told us June 15th was their only opening for the entire summer season. It's a luxury resort right on the ocean, and it's absolutely perfect. I fell in love with it instantly. The wedding coordinator said if we didn't book immediately, we'd lose it. I can't believe you're making such a big deal about this. You always make everything about you. This is my special day, and I've dreamed about it since I was a little girl. Stop trying to ruin it for me. Besides, you're a guy. You don't even care about weddings. Emma can just pick another date and you'll show up. That's how it works. Let me have this one thing. I read the message 3 times. The audacity of it was breathtaking. She didn't remember my date that I had announced at a family dinner she attended. She expected me to believe that one of Oregon's premier wedding venues only had one single Saturday available in the entire summer. And somehow, I was the one being selfish. I screenshotted the message and showed Emma. Her mouth fell open. "One thing?" Emma said incredulously. "She's had everything her entire life." Over the next few days, extended family members started calling. Not to support me, but to suggest I should be the one to move my date. Aunt Dorothy called while I was at work. "Darian, sweetheart, you know how your sister is. She's very sensitive, and planning a wedding is so stressful for brides. You're a man. You don't care about all the wedding details anyway. Why don't you just move your date and let your sister have her special day? It would mean so much to your parents." I was polite but firm. "Aunt Dorothy, I'm not moving my date. Emma and I planned this months ago." She sighed like I was being a difficult child. "Well, I hope you'll reconsider. Family is more important than pride." Cousin Marcus, who was Cassandra's age and had always been close to her, sent me a text. "Dude, just reschedule. It's not that big a deal. Cassandra's really upset, and you're causing unnecessary family drama. Be the bigger person." The messages kept coming. Uncle Gerald, Aunt Pamela, even some second cousins I barely knew, all reached out to tell me I should change my plans. It was like a coordinated campaign. The only person who supported me was Uncle Frank, my dad's younger brother. He texted privately, "This is wrong what they're doing to you. Your parents have always played favorites, but this crosses a line. Don't back down, son. Stand your ground." His message meant more than he probably knew. Meanwhile, Emma's family was appalled by the whole situation. Her parents called to check on us, and when Emma explained what was happening, her father Richard said something I'll never forget. "That's not how family treats family. You two keep your plans exactly as they are. If you need anything at all, you call us." Emma's sister Lauren flew up from Sacramento just to take Emma wedding dress shopping and show support. Her bridesmaids rallied around her, sending encouraging texts and offering to help however they could. The contrast was stark. Emma's family, who had known me for only a few years, treated me with more care and respect than my own parents ever had. Emma and I had several long conversations about how to handle this. Part of me wanted to fight back, to call my parents out publicly, to make them see how wrong they were. But another part of me was just tired of always being the afterthought, tired of competing for scraps of attention and approval. "What if we just let them make their choice?" I said one night. "What if we keep planning our wedding, and they either show up or they don't?" Emma took my hand. "Whatever you decide, I'm with you. But Darian, you deserve better than this. You've always deserved better." I pulled her close. "I know. And I have better. I have you." We decided to continue with our plans and let the chips fall where they may. We weren't going to beg anyone to attend our wedding. We'd celebrate with the people who wanted to be there. Then, 2 weeks after the phone call with my parents, my mother called again. I almost didn't answer, but Emma encouraged me to hear her out. "Darian," she said, her voice tight, "I need you to listen to me. If you don't move your date, your father and I won't be attending your wedding. We've already RSVP'd yes to Cassandra's wedding. We've bought our outfits, a mother of the bride dress for me and a new suit for your father. We've booked our hotel room at the resort. We're not going to miss our daughter's wedding because you're being stubborn and unreasonable." The word daughter hit me like a punch. Not youngest daughter or Cassandra, just daughter, like I wasn't their son. I stayed silent for a long moment, and I could hear her breathing on the other end, waiting for me to argue or plead. "Finally," I said quietly, "I understand." There was a pause. She sounded surprised. "You do?" "Yes," I said. "I understand perfectly. You've made your choice. That's very clear." "Well, good. I'm glad you're finally being reasonable about this. Is there anything else?" I asked, my voice calm and detached. "No, I suppose not. We'll see you at the holidays." "Maybe," I said, Then I hung up. Emma was watching me with concern. "Are you okay?" I looked at her, and something shifted inside me. The hurt was still there, but it was being replaced by something else. Clarity, determination, resolve. "They made their choice," I told her. "Now I'll make mine." 2 months passed. It was now April, and the wedding was only 2 months away. Emma and I continued our planning without any involvement from my parents. They had completely stopped communicating with me. I wasn't included in family group chats anymore. When I tested it by posting a question about a family recipe, I realized I'd been removed from the main family chat entirely. Cassandra, meanwhile, was posting constantly on social media about her wedding preparations. Every day brought a new update. Photos of her dress, shopping with our mother. Videos of cake tastings with our parents and Trevor's family. Announcements about her bachelorette party in Napa Valley and Trevor's bachelor party in Las Vegas. She tagged every family member in these posts except me. Through her posts, I learned just how extravagant her wedding was going to be. The Pacific Vista Resort was one of the most expensive venues in Oregon, with ocean views and luxury accommodations. She had booked it for 300 guests. Her wedding dress was from a designer boutique and cost more than my first car. She hired a wedding planner who specialized in high-end events. The rehearsal dinner alone was for 80 people at a 5-star restaurant. From what I could piece together from her posts and comments from relatives, my parents were contributing at least $50,000 to her wedding. The total cost was probably well over $100,000. Emma and I, meanwhile, were planning a beautiful but modest celebration. Our venue was elegant but affordable. Our guest list was 100 people, and we were focused on meaningful details rather than extravagance. We wanted good food, beautiful flowers, and a day filled with love and joy. We didn't need crystal chandeliers or ice sculptures, but watching Cassandra's posts was like watching everything I'd experienced my whole life play out in real time. The favoritism, the disparity, the assumption that she deserved the best while I should be grateful for whatever was left over. What hurt most wasn't the money. It was seeing my parents in all her photos, smiling and laughing and celebrating with her. My mom helping her choose between flower arrangements. My dad toasting her and Trevor at their engagement party. They looked so happy, so proud, so involved. They used to call me once a week, usually on Sunday evenings. Those calls had stopped completely. I didn't call them either. What would I even say? Emma noticed how much it was affecting me. She would find me staring at my phone, scrolling through Cassandra's posts, and she'd gently take it from my hands. "Don't torture yourself," she'd say. But I couldn't help it. I needed to see it. I needed to fully understand what my family thought of me. In late April, the RSVP deadline passed for our wedding. We received 85 confirmations out of the 100 invitations we sent. 15 people declined. Among those 15 were my parents, Cassandra, Aunt Dorothy, Uncle Gerald, Aunt Pamela, and several cousins. The no responses from my family all included generic notes in the RSVP cards. Sorry, prior commitment, or unable to attend. Not one of them mentioned Cassandra's wedding directly. They were too cowardly even to be honest about it. Uncle Frank was the only one from my dad's side who RSVP'd, yes. His response card included a handwritten note. "Wouldn't miss it for the world. I'm proud of you." When Emma saw the final count, she cried. Not for herself, but for me. She held me that night and said, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry they're doing this to you." "I'm not," I lied. But the truth was, it hurt more than I wanted to admit. These were people I'd known my entire life. People who had been at my birthday parties, my high school graduation, my college graduation, and they were all choosing Cassandra. But their rejection also did something else. It freed me. It clarified things. It showed me exactly who would be there when it mattered and who wouldn't. And it sparked an idea. I started making phone calls that Emma didn't know about. I reached out to contacts from my engineering firm, from college, from my community. I met with our wedding planner, Janet, and told her I wanted to make some changes, and it sparked an idea. "Big ones," I said. "But I need you to keep this between us for now. It's a surprise for Emma." Over the next 3 weeks, I quietly transformed our wedding. I expanded the guest list to 150 people, inviting colleagues from my entire engineering firm, nurses from Emma's hospital unit, friends from college I'd lost touch with, neighbors, former professors, and people who had been kind to us over the years. I upgraded our catering package to include premium options and an open bar with top-shelf liquor. I hired a renowned chef who usually worked at high-end restaurants. I booked a live band that regularly played sold-out venues in Seattle. I brought in a professional lighting company to transform the garden venue with elegant string lights and uplighting. I hired a florist to create elaborate flower walls and centerpieces. I arranged for luxury transportation to bring guests from Seattle to the venue. I spent an additional $40,000. I drained my savings account, the emergency fund I'd been building for 5 years. I even took out a small personal loan. It was reckless and probably financially irresponsible, but I didn't care. This was about more than money. I upgraded our catering package to include premium options and an open bar with top-shelf liquor. I hired a renowned chef who usually worked at high-end restaurants. I booked a live band that regularly played sold-out venues in Seattle. I brought in a professional lighting company to transform the garden venue with elegant string lights and uplighting. I hired a florist to create elaborate flower walls and centerpieces. I arranged for luxury transportation to bring guests from Seattle to the venue. I didn't tell them how elaborate the celebration would be. I didn't mention the upgrades or the band or any of it. I just sent the link. 3 weeks before the wedding, my phone rang. It was my mother. I stared at her name on the screen for several rings before answering. "Darian," she said, and her voice sounded different, nervous. "I've been hearing things from your Aunt Carol about your wedding." Aunt Carol was on Emma's side of the family and had been invited to our wedding. She must have mentioned something to someone who knew my mother. "What things?" I asked carefully. She said, "It sounds like you've really expanded your plans, that you've invited a lot more people and upgraded everything." "We've made some changes, yes. Well, your father and I have been talking, and we were wondering if there's any way we could attend both ceremonies. Your wedding starts at 2, and Cassandra's starts at 5. The venues are 3 hours apart, but if we left right after your ceremony, we could make it to hers before she walks down the aisle. Would that work?" I was quiet for a long moment, processing what she was asking. She wanted to squeeze my wedding into her schedule, to rush through my ceremony so she could get to the one that really mattered. "Mom, you already made your choice. You told me very clearly that if I didn't move my date, you wouldn't attend my wedding." "I know, but we didn't realize how nice your wedding was going to be. We thought it would just be a small thing." "A small thing," I repeated, like it didn't matter. "That's not what I meant." "Yes, it is. That's exactly what you meant. You assumed my wedding wasn't important enough to prioritize. And now you want to come because you're hearing it might be more impressive than you thought. Darian, don't be like this. We're your parents. We should be there. You should have been there from the beginning. You should have told Cassandra to pick a different date. You should have acknowledged that I planned mine first. You should have cared about hurting me. But you didn't. You made your decision, and you told me I had to understand." "Well, Mom, I do understand. Perfectly. So you're saying we can't come?" "I'm saying you already chose not to come. You RSVP'd no. You bought outfits for Cassandra's wedding. You booked a hotel 3 hours away. You made your plans. Those are your choices, and you have to live with them, just like you expected me to live with mine. So you're saying we can't come?" "But we're your parents." I hung up before she could respond. My hands were shaking, but I felt strangely calm. Emma came into the room. "That was your mom?" I nodded. What did she want? To attend both weddings, to rush through ours so she could get to Cassandra's. Emma's eyes widened. "What did you say?" I said no. She wrapped her arms around me. "Good." It was now mid-May, 3 weeks before the wedding, and apparently my conversation with my mother had created a firestorm I hadn't anticipated. Cassandra left me an angry voicemail. I didn't listen to it right away, but when I finally played it during my lunch break at work, her voice was shrill and furious. "How dare you threaten Mom on the phone?" She called me crying, saying you were cruel and cold to her. "She and Dad have done everything for you, and this is how you repay them? You've always been jealous of me, Darian. Always. You can't stand that I'm having a beautiful wedding, so you're trying to ruin it by making Mom and Dad feel guilty." Well, it's not going to work. Everyone important will be at my wedding. Yours doesn't matter. Nobody cares about your stupid garden wedding. Grow up and stop being such a selfish child. I saved the voicemail. I wasn't sure why, but something told me I might need evidence of her behavior someday. My father sent me a formal email. It was typed, structured, and cold, like a business memo. The subject line was disappointment and expectations. The email read, "Darian, your mother is very upset about your phone conversation. We are deeply disappointed in your behavior and the disrespect you've shown your family. After all we've done for you, providing you with a home, education, and support throughout your life, this is how you choose to act. We raised you to be considerate and understanding, but clearly those lessons didn't take. Your refusal to accommodate your sister's wedding plans shows a level of selfishness we never expected from you. We question the values we thought we instilled. We will be attending Cassandra's wedding as planned. We hope you'll use this time to reflect on your choices and their consequences. We expect an apology. Dad." I read it twice. The irony was almost funny. They were lecturing me about family values while skipping my wedding for my sisters. They were calling me selfish for not moving my plans that I'd made first. They claimed they'd done everything for me, conveniently forgetting the loans I'd taken, the jobs I'd worked, the times I'd been overlooked. I didn't respond to the email. There was nothing left to say. But I also didn't stop my preparations. If anything, their messages fueled my determination. I met with Janet again and revealed the full scope of my plan. Her eyes got wider as I explained. "You're sure about this?" she asked. I met with Janet again and revealed the full scope of my plan. Her eyes got wider as I explained. Completely sure. The venue itself was being transformed. I'd hired a premium decorator who was bringing in thousands of additional flowers, creating elaborate floral walls for photos, and setting up elegant lounge areas with vintage furniture. A lighting company was installing custom string lights throughout the garden, along with uplighting that would make the venue glow at sunset. The catering had been upgraded to a premium package, with a renowned chef preparing a multi-course dinner. The bar was now fully open with top-shelf liquor, craft cocktails, and a champagne fountain. I'd hired a live band that usually played weddings for tech millionaires and celebrities. They had a full horn section and could play everything from jazz to classic rock to current pop hits. The photographer and videographer I'd booked were among the best in the Pacific Northwest. They'd worked weddings featured in magazines and had a waiting list a year long. I'd paid a premium to secure them. And then there was the live stream. I'd hired a professional company that usually streamed corporate events and concerts. They were setting up multiple cameras, professional audio, and a control booth. The stream would be high definition, with multiple angles, and would include graphics and transitions. It would look like a television production. But I'd added one more element Janet didn't know about yet. "I want to include testimonials in the live stream," I told her. "During the cocktail hour, I want the videographer to interview guests about Emma and me. Short clips, maybe 30 seconds each, talking about our relationship, what we mean to them, things like that. Then we'll edit them together and play them during the reception." Janet smiled. "That's beautiful. Emma will love that." "Emma doesn't know about any of this," I admitted. "She knows we've expanded the guest list a bit, but she doesn't know the full extent. I want it to be a surprise. She's going to be amazed." I hoped so. More than that, I hoped the people who had dismissed our wedding as a small, unimportant garden thing would see exactly what they were missing. The live stream link I'd sent to my family was going to give them a front row seat to their own mistake. 1 week before the wedding, Uncle Frank called me. "Darian, I need to tell you something. Your parents are panicking." "What do you mean?" "Half the family has been talking about watching your live stream during Cassandra's reception. Your Aunt Dorothy mentioned it to your mom, and apparently Cassandra overheard and had a complete meltdown. She's furious that people are more interested in your wedding than hers." I felt a grim satisfaction hearing that. "Good. There's more," Frank continued. "Several cousins have told me privately that they wish they'd RSVP'd to your wedding instead. Marcus called me last night saying he made a mistake. Pamela's kids are mad at her for making them go to Cassandra's wedding instead of yours. Why are they telling you this?" "There's more," Frank continued. Several cousins have told me privately that they wish they'd RSVP'd to your wedding instead. Marcus called me last night saying he made a mistake. Pamela's kids are mad at her for making them go to Cassandra's wedding instead of yours. Thanks, Uncle Frank. I appreciate you being honest with me. Your parents made a huge mistake, and they're starting to realize it. But it's too late now. They've shown you who they are. Don't forget that, no matter what they say or do after this. That evening, my phone buzzed with a text from my father. Just 4 words. Son, we need to talk. Call me. I didn't call back. Then another text from Cassandra. I know what you're doing. You're trying to upstage me. You've always been jealous, but nobody cares about your wedding. Everyone important will be at mine. I responded simply, I hope you have a beautiful day tomorrow, Cassandra. I really do. I meant it, in a way. I hoped she had the wedding of her dreams. I hoped it was everything she wanted. Because after this, when she realized what she'd done and how she'd behaved, she was going to need that memory. That night, I couldn't sleep. Emma found me on our apartment balcony at 2 a.m, staring out at the Seattle skyline. She wrapped a blanket around my shoulders and sat beside me. Talk to me. I keep thinking about my parents, I admitted. Part of me still wants them there. Part of me wants them to see what they're missing and feel terrible about it. And part of me just wants them to love me the way they love Cassandra. Emma took my hand. I know, but Darian, whatever happens tomorrow, we're starting our life together. That's what matters. Not them, us. You're right. I know you're right. Are you going to tell me what you've been planning? She asked with a small smile. Janet keeps giving me mysterious looks. I laughed. It's a surprise, but I promise you'll love it. I already love it because you planned it. You could marry me in a parking lot and I'd be happy. Well, good news. It's slightly nicer than a parking lot. We sat there together until the sun started to rise, and I felt peaceful for the first time in months. Whatever happened with my family, I had Emma. I had real love. I had people who showed up for me. That was more than enough. At 6 o'clock on the morning of June 15th, my wedding day, my phone rang. I was already awake, too nervous and excited to sleep. I saw my mother's name and almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. Hello? She was crying. Please, Darian. Please let us come. We made a terrible mistake. Your father and I have been up all night talking. We can't miss your wedding. We just can't. I sat up in bed, my heart pounding. Where is Cassandra getting married? The Pacific Vista Resort. It's 3 hours south of Seattle. Then you have a choice to make, Mom. Just like you told me I had to understand your choice, you need to understand mine. I'll be getting married at 2 o'clock at Willowbrook Gardens in Woodinville. The ceremony starts exactly on time. If you're there, you're there. If not, the live stream link is still available. But Cassandra will be devastated if we're not at her wedding. And I wasn't devastated when you chose not to come to mine? That's different. No, Mom, it's not. You made your decision months ago. You bought your outfits. You booked your hotel. You RSVP'd. You've been helping Cassandra plan her wedding while ignoring mine completely. You don't get to change your mind now because you're suddenly worried about how it looks. Please, Darian, I'm begging you. I have to go. I'm getting married today. It's going to be a beautiful day, with or without you. I hung up and turned off my phone. Emma was standing in the doorway of our bedroom. Your mom? Yeah. What did she say? That they want to come after all. What did you tell her? That they made their choice. Emma crossed the room and kissed me. I'm proud of you. Now, let's get ready. We have a wedding to get to. The morning moved like a dream. I got ready at our apartment with my groomsmen, my college friends Jake, Anthony, and Brian. They'd flown in from different parts of the country to be here, and their presence meant everything. Jake handed me a beer at 10 a.m. It's your wedding day. You're allowed. We spent the morning laughing and telling stories, and for those few hours, I forgot about my family drama. I was just a guy getting ready to marry the love of his life. Emma was getting ready at the venue with her bridesmaids, her sister Lauren, and her friends Madison and Brooke. She'd sent me a text that morning. Can't wait to marry you. See you at the altar. At noon, Uncle Frank arrived at my apartment. He was wearing a sharp navy suit and had tears in his eyes when he saw me in my tuxedo. "You look good, kid," he said, pulling me into a hug. "Thanks for being here, Uncle Frank. Wouldn't miss it. But I need to tell you something. Your parents left Portland at 9 this morning." My heart skipped. "What?" "Your Aunt Dorothy called me, furious about it. She said your mom called her at 7 this morning saying they were driving to Seattle instead of going to Cassandra's wedding. Dorothy tried to talk them out of it, but they'd already made up their minds. I didn't know what to feel. Relief? Anger? Hope? If they left at 9, and it's a 3-hour drive, they should be here by now," Jake said, checking his watch. "Traffic," Anthony suggested. "It's Saturday. Could be bad coming north." I turned my phone back on for the first time since hanging up on my mother. It immediately started buzzing with missed calls and texts. 12 missed calls from my mom, 8 from my dad, 6 from Cassandra. The most recent text from my mom, sent 15 minutes ago. "We're almost there. Please wait for us." I looked at Uncle Frank. "Did Cassandra know they were coming here?" "Oh, she knows now," Dorothy called her to tell her. "Apparently Cassandra is having a complete breakdown. Trevor's trying to calm her down, but she's threatening to cancel the whole wedding." I felt a twist of guilt, then pushed it away. I hadn't done anything wrong. I'd planned my wedding first, and I'd invited my parents. They were the ones who had created this mess. "What are you going to do?" Brian asked. I checked the time. It was 12:30. The ceremony was at 2. Guests would start arriving at 1:30. "We're sticking to the schedule," I said. "The ceremony starts at 2. If they're there, they're there. If not, we start without them." We drove to the venue at 1. When we arrived, I nearly stopped breathing. The garden looked like something out of a fairy tale. The wisteria-covered arches were in full bloom, cascading purple flowers everywhere. The flower walls I'd ordered were stunning, creating perfect photo backdrops. The string lights were already tested and ready, waiting for sunset to really shine. The tables were set with elegant linens and centerpieces of white roses and greenery. The stage for the band was set up, instruments ready. The bar was fully stocked, and I could see the catering team setting up the most beautiful food displays I'd ever seen. Janet found me immediately. "Everything is perfect. Emma's in the bridal suite and she's absolutely glowing. The photographer is with her now. Are you ready for this?" "More than ready." Guests started arriving at 1:30. I watched from a window as people I cared about walked into the garden. My colleagues from work, looking impressed by the venue. Emma's hospital co-workers, many of whom I'd gotten to know over the years. College friends I hadn't seen in years. High school buddies, neighbors, community members. Uncle Frank stood with me. At 1:50, there was still no sign of my parents. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "Don't be. Let's just do this." At 1:55, I took my place at the altar with Reverend Thompson, Emma's family pastor who had agreed to officiate. My groomsmen stood beside me. The string quartet began playing, and then there was a commotion at the entrance. I saw my parents rushing in, disheveled and out of breath. My mother's hair was messy. My father's tie was crooked. They looked panicked and exhausted. They tried to approach me, but Richard, Emma's father, intercepted them smoothly. I couldn't hear what he said, but he gestured politely but firmly toward seats at the back. A venue coordinator escorted them to a table far from the ceremony arch. My mother was crying. My father looked devastated. They'd missed everything. The pre-ceremony photos, the seating of honored guests, the special moments. There were just 2 more guests now, arriving late and sitting in the back. At exactly 2 o'clock, the music changed. The wedding march began, and Emma appeared. She was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Her dress was simple and elegant, flowing and romantic. Her hair was down in soft waves with flowers woven through it. She was crying and smiling at the same time. Her father Richard walked her down the aisle, and when he placed her hand in mine, he whispered, "Take care of my girl." "Always," I whispered back. The ceremony was perfect. Reverend Thompson spoke about love and commitment and building a life together. Emma and I had written our own vows, and when it was my turn to speak, I looked into her eyes and forgot everyone else was there. "Emma, before I met you, I thought I understood what family meant, but you taught me something better. You taught me that family isn't about who you're born to. It's about who shows up, who stays, who chooses you every single day. You've chosen me every day for 8 years, and I promise to choose you every day for the rest of my life. You are my home. You are my family. You are my everything." Emma was crying, and so was half the audience. When she said her vows, promising to be my partner and my safe place and my biggest supporter, I had to blink back my own tears. We exchanged rings. We were pronounced husband and wife. We kissed while everyone applauded and cheered. As we walked back down the aisle together, I saw my parents sitting at their table, both crying. My mother reached out as we passed, but I was already moving forward, Emma's hand in mine, into our future. During the receiving line, every single guest congratulated us with genuine warmth and joy. When we finally finished greeting everyone, the photographer approached. "Ready for family photos?" she asked. Before my parents could approach, Richard stepped forward with Emma's family. "Let's start with the bride's family," the photographer said naturally. We took beautiful photos with Emma's parents, her sister, her grandparents, her aunts and uncles. Then photos with the wedding party. Then photos with my groomsmen. Then photos with various groups of friends. The photographer never asked about my parents. I'd briefed her in advance that there might be family complications and to follow my lead. I never gave her a signal to call them over. My parents stood off to the side, watching, waiting, but I didn't call them. I didn't acknowledge them. They were just guests who had arrived late. During the cocktail hour, something happened that I hadn't fully anticipated. Uncle Frank found me with a strange look on his face. "Darian, you need to see this." He showed me his phone. The live stream of my wedding had over 800 viewers. The chat was active with comments. But more than that, he showed me texts he was getting from family members, from people who were supposed to be at Cassandra's wedding right now. "Aunt Dorothy, we're watching Darian's ceremony. It's absolutely beautiful. I think we made a mistake. Cousin Marcus, is this really Darian's wedding? This is incredible. Why didn't anyone tell us it was going to be like this?" Uncle Gerald, "We're at Cassandra's cocktail hour, but everyone is watching Darian's live stream on their phones. Cassandra is locked in the bridal suite, refusing to come out. This is a disaster." Uncle Frank scrolled through more messages, all saying similar things. People at Cassandra's wedding were watching mine on their phones. Her carefully planned reception was being ignored as guests clustered around phones and tablets, streaming my ceremony. More messages came through with photos. Empty tables at Cassandra's elaborate reception, her 5-tier cake sitting untouched, the dance floor completely vacant. Several people had apparently left her wedding early and were driving to mine. One message from a second cousin read, "Cassandra's wedding is beautiful, but it feels empty. Everyone's talking about Darian's wedding and how they chose the wrong one. Trevor looks furious. This is so awkward." I stared at the messages, feeling a complex mix of emotions. I hadn't set out to ruin Cassandra's wedding. I just wanted to have a beautiful day for Emma and me. But Cassandra had started this by deliberately choosing my date. "That's not my concern today," I told Uncle Frank, echoing words I'd thought many times. "Today is about Emma and me." But even as I said it, I knew the fallout from this was going to be massive. I put my phone away and went to find my wife. Emma was talking with her bridesmaids, glowing with happiness. When she saw me, her face lit up even more. "Having fun?" she asked. "The best day of my life," I said honestly. The reception was about to begin, and I couldn't wait to see her reaction to everything I'd planned. The reception began at 5:30, as the sun started its descent toward the horizon. The garden was transformed. The string lights came on, creating a canopy of stars above us. The uplighting made the flowers glow. It looked magical. Emma gasped when she saw it. "Darian, this is incredible. When did you do all this?" "I've been working on some surprises," I admitted with a smile. Our entrance was announced, and we walked in to thunderous applause. The band started playing, and they were phenomenal. They launched into our first dance song, "Speechless" by Dan and Shay, and I held Emma close as we swayed together. "I can't believe this is our life now," she whispered. "Believe it," I whispered back. "You're stuck with me forever." The food service began, and guests raved about every course. The chef had outdone himself with locally sourced salmon, perfectly cooked steak, and vegetarian options that were works of art. The open bar was flowing, and people were having an amazing time. Then came the toasts. Emma's father, Richard, went first. He stood up with a glass of champagne and cleared his throat. "I want to tell you all about the first time I met Darian," he began. "Emma brought him home for Thanksgiving 4 years ago. I did what any father does. I interrogated him, asked him about his intentions, his career, his values. And you know what impressed me most? His honesty. When I asked him what he loved about Emma, he didn't give me some smooth answer. He said, 'She makes me want to be better. Not because I'm not good enough, but because she inspires me to grow.' That's when I knew." He paused, looking at me with genuine affection. "Today we didn't gain a son-in-law. We gained a son. Period. Darian, you are family. You have been from that first Thanksgiving, and you always will be. Welcome home." The applause was deafening. I saw my mother at her back table, crying into a napkin. My father had his head down. Jake gave the best man toast next, telling funny stories about our college days and how he'd watched me fall completely in love with Emma. "I've known Darian for 12 years, he said, "and I've never seen him happier than he is with Emma. That's how you know it's real." The evening continued with dancing, laughter, and joy. The band played everything from Frank Sinatra to Bruno Mars, and the dance floor was packed. Around 7 o'clock, as the sun was setting in brilliant oranges and pinks, there was another commotion at the entrance. A group of people arrived, looking uncomfortable and out of place. It was Cousin Marcus, Aunt Dorothy, Uncle Gerald, and 6 other family members. They were supposed to be at Cassandra's wedding. They were dressed formally, clearly having come straight from her reception. They approached me hesitantly. Aunt Dorothy looked like she'd been crying. "Darian, we're so sorry. We made a terrible mistake." Marcus stepped forward. "We should have been here from the beginning. Your wedding is beautiful. We chose wrong." I looked at them, these people who had dismissed my wedding as unimportant, who had sided with Cassandra without a second thought. I should have felt vindicated. Instead, I just felt tired. "I appreciate you coming," I said carefully. "But you need to understand something. You didn't just miss a wedding. You showed me exactly where I stand in this family. That's not something you can take back with an apology." Aunt Dorothy was sobbing now. "We were so wrong. About everything. We've always taken you for granted. You were always the strong one, the independent one. We thought you didn't need us." "Everyone needs their family," I said quietly. "I just learned mine was smaller than I thought." Uncle Gerald spoke up. "Your sister's wedding fell apart. Half the guests left early. The ones who stayed were watching your live stream. She's devastated." I felt a pang of something. Not quite guilt, but not satisfaction either. That's between her and the choices she made. They stood there awkwardly until Emma came to my rescue. "There's food and drinks if you'd like to stay," she said graciously. "But tonight is about celebrating, not dwelling on the past." They thanked her and moved off to find seats. At 7:30, my parents finally approached. I'd been half expecting it, half dreading it. They looked terrible. My mother's makeup was ruined from crying, and my father looked like he'd aged 10 years. "Son," my father started, his voice breaking. "We need to talk." "Not now," I said. "This is my wedding reception. Please," my mother begged. "Please let us explain." I looked at Emma. She squeezed my hand and said, "I'll give you a minute." She kissed my cheek and walked away, giving us space. I led my parents to a quiet corner of the garden, away from the party. "You have 5 minutes," I said. My mother started talking, words tumbling out between sobs. "We're so sorry. We were so wrong. About everything. We've always taken you for granted because you were always okay. You were independent and successful, and you never needed us. Cassandra always needed us, so we gave her more attention. But we see now that was wrong. So wrong." My father spoke next. "Son, we failed you. Not just today. For years. We prioritized your sister's wants over your needs. We made you feel like you didn't matter. We treated you like you were less important. And that's unforgivable." I listened, my emotions churning. Part of me wanted to hug them and forgive everything immediately. Part of me wanted to tell them exactly how much they'd hurt me. Part of me wanted to walk away and never speak to them again. Do you know what the hardest part was? I finally said. Not that you chose her wedding. It's that you never even considered that your choice would hurt me. You just expected me to understand, to be fine with it, to move my wedding because Cassandra wanted that date. Like my feelings didn't count, like I didn't matter. You do matter, my mother insisted. You matter so much. Then why didn't you show it? I asked. Why have you spent my entire life making me feel like I'm second place? The smaller bedroom, the used car, working my way through college while she got everything paid for. And now this, my wedding day, and you chose hers. My father was crying now too. We thought we were being good parents by supporting her because she needed more help. We didn't realize we were failing you. We thought you were strong enough that you didn't need our support the same way. We were wrong. So incredibly wrong. You were, I agreed. And I don't know if we can fix this. The damage is deep. It's not just about today. It's about a lifetime of feeling like I wasn't enough. You're more than enough, my mother said. You're amazing. Look at what you've built. Look at this incredible woman you married. Look at all these people who love you. You did all that without us. And that's our failure, not yours. I need you to understand something, I said, my voice steady despite my emotions. If you want to be part of my life going forward, things have to change. No more favoritism, no more excuses, no more expecting me to just understand when you hurt me. Real change, consistent effort. Otherwise, I'm done. We'll do anything, my father said. Anything to make this right. I don't know if you can make it right, I admitted. But I'm willing to let you try. Not today, though. Today is about Emma and me. Today is about celebrating with the people who showed up. If you want to stay for the rest of the reception, you can. But we're not doing family photos. We're not pretending everything is fine. You're just guests who arrived late. They nodded, still crying. One more thing, I added. You need to think about the message you sent to Cassandra. You enabled her behavior her whole life. You taught her she could have anything she wanted, even things that belonged to other people. You created this situation as much as she did. If you want to fix your relationship with me, you need to fix what you did to her too. My mother nodded. You're right. We ruined both of you in different ways. I didn't disagree. Emma appeared then, like she had a sixth sense for when I needed her. Everything okay? She asked. Though she was really asking me, not them. Yeah, I said, taking her hand. Mom, Dad, you can stay if you want, but right now, I need to dance with my wife. I led Emma back to the dance floor, and the band started playing The Way You Look Tonight. As we danced, I saw my parents standing at the edge of the garden, watching us. They looked lost and broken. Good. Maybe now they understood a fraction of how I'd felt my entire life. The reception continued with incredible energy. The band was phenomenal, playing song after song that kept everyone dancing. The cake cutting was perfect, the bouquet toss was fun, and around 9 o'clock, the videographer played the compilation of guest testimonials on screens around the venue. Person after person talked about Emma and me. Our friends talked about our love story. Colleagues talked about my character and work ethic. Emma's hospital co-workers talked about her compassion and how happy she'd been since we got together. Emma cried watching it. You did this? She asked. I wanted you to see how much people love us, I said. How much we're surrounded by real family. At 9:30, my phone buzzed with a call. It was Cassandra. Against my better judgment, I stepped outside to answer it. My wedding was ruined, she screamed before I could even say hello. Everyone was watching your wedding. Half my guests left early. Mom and Dad missed my ceremony because they were trying to get to yours. This was supposed to be my day, my special day, and you destroyed it. I let her vent, waiting until she ran out of steam. Cassandra, I said calmly when she finally stopped. You made your choice when you deliberately scheduled your wedding on my date. You thought you could take this from me like you've taken everything else our whole lives. You thought people would automatically choose you because they always have. But you know what you actually did? You revealed to everyone exactly who you are. You showed them that you're selfish and entitled and willing to hurt your own brother for attention. And now you have to live with the consequences. I hate you, she screamed. This is all your fault. No, Cassandra. This is your fault. You made this bed. Now lie in it. I hope someday you'll grow up enough to understand what you did. I hope you'll learn that the world doesn't revolve around you. But right now, I have a reception to get back to. I have a wife to dance with, and guests who actually wanted to be here. Goodbye. I hung up and turned off my phone again. When I walked back inside, Emma was waiting. Your sister? Yeah. Is she okay? No. But that's not my problem to solve anymore. Emma wrapped her arms around me. I'm so proud of you. For all of this. For standing up for yourself. For creating this beautiful day. For choosing us. Always us, I said, kissing her forehead. The reception continued until midnight. We did the sparkler exit, with all our guests lining up with sparklers creating a tunnel of light. We walked through it to a vintage car, decorated with flowers, heading to our honeymoon suite at a luxury hotel in Seattle. As we drove away, I looked back one last time. I saw my parents standing with Emma's parents, talking quietly. I saw Uncle Frank giving me a thumbs up. I saw Jake and Anthony and Brian laughing together. I saw all the people who had chosen to be there, who had celebrated with us, who had shown up when it mattered. Emma squeezed my hand. We did it. We built our own family. Yeah, I said, smiling. We really did. The honeymoon suite was beautiful, but I barely noticed the luxury around us. All I could see was Emma, my wife, the woman who had stood by me through all of this. We stayed up talking until 3 a.m, reliving every moment of the day. Emma finally admitted she'd figured out about a week ago that I was planning something big. Janet couldn't keep a completely straight face, she laughed. And when my coworkers started mentioning they were coming to the wedding, I knew you'd expanded the guest list significantly. But Darian, I never imagined anything like what you created. It was perfect. Absolutely perfect. You deserved perfect, I said simply. We deserved it, she corrected. After everything we went through, we deserved a day that was just about us and the people who love us. The next morning, we slept in late. When I finally turned my phone back on around 11, it exploded with messages, hundreds of them, texts, voicemails, emails, social media notifications. Most were congratulations from guests thanking us for an incredible evening. Many mentioned it was the best wedding they'd ever attended. The live stream had apparently been watched by over 2,000 people by the end of the night, and the comments were overwhelmingly positive. But there were other messages too, from family members trying to explain, apologize, justify their choices. From people who had been at Cassandra's wedding, describing what had happened there. According to multiple sources, Cassandra's reception had been a disaster. After the ceremony, which my parents missed entirely, guests had gone to the cocktail hour. That's when people started pulling out their phones to watch my wedding live stream. By the time dinner was served, entire tables were watching my ceremony instead of celebrating Cassandra's. Cassandra had apparently noticed and locked herself in the bridal suite, refusing to come out. Trevor had tried to convince her to join the reception, but she was inconsolable. When she finally emerged an hour later, her makeup was ruined and she looked devastated. The first dance happened, but the energy was completely off. By 8 o'clock, people were leaving. One cousin sent me a message. I've never seen anything more awkward. Cassandra kept crying and talking about how you ruined her day. Trevor looked embarrassed. Your parents weren't there to help manage it. It was just sad. I felt a complicated mix of emotions reading these accounts. I hadn't wanted to ruin her day. I just wanted to have my own day. But she'd created this situation by scheduling on my date deliberately. There was a voicemail from my mother, left at 7 that morning. Her voice was thick with tears. Darian, it's Mom. I know you're on your honeymoon and you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need you to know we're sorry. Really, truly sorry. Watching your wedding yesterday, seeing how beautiful it was, seeing how happy you and Emma were, and knowing we almost missed it because of our own foolishness. We spent the whole drive back to Portland last night talking. We've been terrible parents to you. We see that now. We took you for granted. We enabled your sister's worst behaviors. We created this whole mess. If you never want to speak to us again, we'd understand. but we hope you'll give us a chance to do better. We love you. We're proud of you. We should have shown that better. We will show it better, if you let us. Congratulations on your marriage. Emma is wonderful, and you two are perfect together." I saved the voicemail, but didn't respond yet. That evening, we met Emma's parents for dinner. Richard and Susan had stayed in Seattle an extra day to spend time with us before we left for Hawaii. "Darian, it's Mom. I know you're on your honeymoon and you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need you to know we're sorry. Really, truly sorry. Watching your wedding yesterday, seeing how beautiful it was, seeing how happy you and Emma were, and knowing we almost missed it because of our own foolishness. We spent the whole drive back to Portland last night talking. We've been terrible parents to you. We see that now. We took you for granted. We enabled your sister's worst behaviors." Over dinner, Richard told us something interesting. "Your parents approached Susan and me at the reception last night. They wanted to talk about you." "What did they say?" I asked. "They asked us to help them understand how to be better parents to you. They said they'd clearly failed somewhere along the way, because we'd been more like parents to you in 4 years than they'd been in 32. They wanted to know what we did differently." "What did you tell them?" "I told them the truth," Richard said. "That we just loved you and showed up. That we didn't compare you to anyone else. That we celebrated your successes and supported you through challenges. That we treated you like you mattered, because you do matter." Susan added, "Your mother was crying. She said she'd always thought providing for Cassandra was what good parents did because Cassandra needed more help. I told her that all children need their parents, just in different ways. That independence doesn't mean you don't need love and support." I felt my throat tighten. "Thank you for talking to them. They love you, Darian," Susan said gently. "They just never learned how to show it properly. That doesn't excuse what they did, but I do think they want to change." Emma squeezed my hand under the table. A few days later, Emma and I were in Maui, sitting on a beach watching the sunset, when I finally called my parents back. My mom answered on the first ring. "Darian?" "Hi, Mom." "Oh, honey. Thank you for calling. How's the honeymoon?" "It's beautiful." Emma says hello. "Tell her hello back. And tell her thank you for being so gracious to us at the wedding. We didn't deserve her kindness." "No, you didn't," I agreed. "But that's who Emma is. She's kind even when people don't deserve it." There was a pause. Then my mother said, "I know you don't want to talk about this on your honeymoon, but I need you to know we're going to therapy. Your father and I. We found a family therapist who specializes in parental favoritism and sibling dynamics. We had our first session yesterday. That surprised me." "Really?" "Really. We want to understand what we did wrong. We want to be better. Not just for you, but for Cassandra too. The therapist said we did damage to both of you, just in different ways. We made you feel unwanted, and we made her feel entitled. We need to fix both." "How is Cassandra?" I asked, surprising myself. "Not good," Mom admitted. "She and Trevor had a huge fight the night of the wedding. He told her she was spoiled and selfish, and that he couldn't believe how she'd treated you. They're in counseling too, trying to save their marriage before it even really started. She's finally starting to see how her behavior affected people. It's painful to watch, but necessary." "I hope she figures it out," I said, and I meant it. "Can we see you when you get back from your honeymoon?" Mom asked hesitantly. "Maybe have dinner with you and Emma? We'd like to start over, if you'll let us." I thought about it. "I need you to understand something first. This isn't going to be fixed overnight. You hurt me deeply, and that hurt goes back my whole life. I'm willing to try to rebuild a relationship with you, but it's going to take time and consistent effort. We understand, whatever it takes, and I need you to respect my boundaries. If I say something bothers me, you need to listen. You can't dismiss my feelings anymore." "We won't. We promise." "Okay," I said. "When we get back, we can have dinner. But Mom, if things don't change, if you fall back into old patterns, I'm done. I won't keep subjecting myself or Emma to treatment that hurts us." "That's fair. That's more than fair. Thank you for giving us a chance." After we hung up, Emma asked, "How do you feel?" "Cautiously hopeful," I admitted, "but also protected. I'm not going to let them hurt me again." "Good," she said. "You deserve better. And if they can't give you better, we'll build our life without them. We already have, I said, pulling her close. Over the next few months, my parents did make real efforts to change. They came to dinners and asked about our lives with genuine interest. They apologized repeatedly and specifically for past hurts. They went to therapy consistently and sometimes shared insights they were learning. Slowly, carefully, we started to rebuild something. It wasn't the relationship I'd wished for as a child, but it was honest and healthier than what we'd had before. Cassandra reached out 6 months after the wedding. She sent me a letter, handwritten, apologizing for everything. She acknowledged her role in the conflict, admitted she'd scheduled her wedding on my date deliberately because she was jealous of my relationship with Emma, and said she was working on herself in therapy. I spent my whole life being told I was special and deserving of everything, she wrote. I never learned to consider other people's feelings. I never had to face consequences. What happened at our weddings was a wake-up call. I'm trying to be better. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I wanted you to know I'm sorry, and I'm working on changing. I wrote back, keeping it brief but kind. I told her I appreciated the apology, and I hoped therapy was helping her. I didn't offer to rebuild our relationship immediately, but I left the door open for the future. Emma and I settled into married life beautifully. We bought a small house in Seattle with a garden where we could grow vegetables and flowers. We hosted dinners for friends and colleagues. We built a life filled with love and laughter and chosen family. Uncle Frank became a regular fixture at our house, joining us for Sunday dinners and holidays. Emma's parents visited often. My groomsmen and Emma's bridesmaids stayed close, and our circle of friends expanded to include people who genuinely cared about us. A year after the wedding, Emma and I were at a coffee shop near our house when she brought up something that had been on my mind too. I've been thinking about what happened with your family, she said. About the wedding and everything that came before. Yeah? I think the best thing that came out of all that pain was clarity. You finally saw the truth about how they'd treated you your whole life. And instead of letting it destroy you, you used it to build something better. She was right. The wedding disaster had forced me to confront painful truths I'd been avoiding my whole life. It had shown me who really cared about me. It had taught me that I deserved better than I'd been accepting. What did you learn from all of it? Emma asked. I thought for a long moment. I learned that family isn't about who shares your blood. It's about who shows up when it matters. I learned that you teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. I learned that standing up for yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. What else? I learned that the people who truly love you will celebrate your joy, not compete with it. That sometimes the greatest gift is letting people face the consequences of their choices. That building your own chosen family is more valuable than forcing broken relationships to work. Emma smiled. Anything else? Yeah, I said, taking her hand. I learned that my worth isn't determined by whether other people recognize it. I learned that real love multiplies joy instead of dividing it. And most importantly, I learned that I should never compromise my self-respect to maintain peace with people who don't respect me. Those are good lessons, Emma said softly. Hard-won lessons, I corrected, but worth it. Looking back now, I can see that June 15th wasn't just my wedding day. It was the day I finally freed myself from a lifetime of trying to earn love that should have been freely given. It was the day I chose myself, chose Emma, chose the life we deserved. My parents are part of our life now, but with healthy boundaries. Cassandra and I have a cordial but distant relationship. We see each other at holidays and are polite, but we're not close. Maybe someday that will change, maybe it won't. I'm okay either way. What matters is that Emma and I built something real and lasting. We created a home filled with love, respect, and mutual support. We surrounded ourselves with people who show up, who celebrate us, who choose us. As I drove away from our wedding that night, I thought I was leaving behind a broken family, but I was wrong. I wasn't losing a family. I was freeing myself to build a better one, and that made all the difference. Now, as I sit here in our garden, watching Emma plant tomatoes while our dog plays at her feet, I understand something profound. The greatest act of love isn't tolerating mistreatment. It's having the courage to demand better, the strength to walk away from what hurts you, and the wisdom to build a life with people who truly value you. My sister set her wedding on the same day as mine on purpose. My parents chose to attend hers, and in doing so they gave me the greatest gift they'd ever given me: clarity. I finally understood that I deserved more, and I went out and found it. So here's my question for you. Have you ever had to make the difficult choice between keeping peace with family and standing up for yourself? How did you handle it? What did you learn? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more stories about finding strength in difficult family situations. Share this with someone who might need to hear that it's okay to choose themselves. And remember, family isn't always about blood. Sometimes it's about finding your people and building something beautiful with them. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps someone out there who's struggling with similar family dynamics. You deserve to be celebrated. You deserve to be chosen. You deserve to be loved without conditions. May you have the courage to build the family you deserve, whether that includes the people you were born to or the people you choose along the way. May you surround yourself with people who show up, and may you never settle for less than your worth. Take care of yourselves. Choose people who choose you. And remember that sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's living well and surrounding yourself with genuine love. Thanks for being here. Until next time.